tell you how it is. How it is. Let me tell you how it is. How it is.
Here's just one of the many stories from StoriesLive, our high school storytelling project. Elijah, an ELL student, was working on a story based on the theme Where I Am From. He said he had trouble starting his story. Earlier he told me how he hugged and said goodbye to his mother when he left home at 15 years old. But he did not want to start there. It was too sad, he said. As for his ending statement, he had no trouble. I came here for a better life. Some life here is good, but some not so better. So I asked, and his teacher asked, well, how did you come here? Plane, boat, train? I came on a train, he said. Oh, I said, doing the calculation in my head, thinking a train from Central America? Well, that must be a story. Out loud, I said, on a train. Great. So tell us about the train as your beginning. The next exercise in the classroom was for students to draw or list bullet points about their stories. Elijah turned in his work and thanked me at the end of class. Much later, when I reviewed classwork, I saw his paper. It was late at night. I was just shuffling through hundreds of them. Elijah had titled his drawing, The Train of the Death, and it showed fellow stick-figure passengers as hungry, thirsty, falling from exhaustion to their deaths as they clung for over 1,000 miles on the top of a train headed north. Small wonder he had trouble knowing where to begin. Understanding that his reticence was really a marker of his courage and his pain made me tear up. Once again, I recognized the enormity of what we are asking of our students, and I realized how important it is that we ask and that we all listen. Whether one shares a dramatic or a simple story arc, whether it's a hilarious story or a deeply affecting one, it takes courage to look at who you are and where you have been.
Let me tell you how it is. How it is. Let me tell you how it is. How it is. Let me tell you how it is.
When Sarah stood up and told her story about surviving political violence and stepping over dead bodies on her daily walk to school, it was a small but significant victory for peace and justice in the world. She told her story to complete her class project during StoriesLive at John O'Brien High School in Boston, where no one had known this about her, not her teachers or any of her friends in her sophomore English class. I personally do not care about politics, said Sarah as she began, and she first told her experiences to me in private. It was on November 5th, 2012, the day before our own national election. She needed to know if her story was too sad and if she could tell it without crying. You see, an election, or a failed election, had destroyed what had been a happy childhood for her. After a political coup in her native country, Sarah said the sounds of bullets still haunt her. Back then, the well-meaning stories of an uncle could not drown out or distract her from the sounds of people dying outside her window. She told about how she shielded her younger sister's innocence and told her that the gunshots outside their windows were firecrackers. And then she told how she was bullied when she came to middle school in Boston. When the cruel words had no effect on her, her tormentors were forced to ask why she was so calm. I have seen much worse, was her answer. It also became the ending line of her story. Her story was full of dignity and sorrow. As her 10th grade class listened intently, they helped create her personal victory. Sarah was able to tell a story that was obviously still painful and very important. Her classmates heard history from an eyewitness. In our adult slams, we hear stories that are deeply affecting and hilarious, sometimes in the same story. We've heard from survivors of car crashes, Hurricane Katrina, and also many hilarious, non-life-threatening stories that make heads nod with recognition of common humanity through another person's life experience. Everywhere we encourage people to tell their stories, audiences listen with respect, wonder, and joy. Through storytelling, our worlds and hearts open up a bit wider. We thank you for your support and making this work possible. The work of massmouth is largely supported by the storytellers of massmouth, and 10% of our operating costs are covered by donations. Another 10% are covered by grants. Won't you give generously and know that you're giving the gift of story? And check our website to see the wonderful perks we have and other special offers for your generous donation. Thank you. This is Nora Dooley, co-founder and executive director of massmouth.
How it is. Let me tell you how it is. How it is. Let me tell you how it is.